Hello, how are you today? Let me ask you a question. Passion, what's yours? Do you know? Do you care? Are you still passionate about things? Or do you find yourself lost in the passion of all that you wish was rather than the passion that is? What do you think about that? Pretty deep question, huh? Are you passionate about the social media and the messages that are coming in even as I go live? Would you like to be more than what you are? Or are you happy already with the you that is you that makes the world a better place because you are? What are you passionate about? What wakes you up? What helps you go to sleep? Where do you live? What do you feel every day of your life? How do you live? And how do you thrive? I want you to think about that one for a minute. Even as I reply to this post that the person sent me as I went live, I want you to think about what you would do if you were truly, think about that, truly passionate about your life. And if you let the true passion of all that was you explode into the world. Did you catch how I said that? Explode into the world. Not just, get released out into the world, be out there, ramble around, do its thing. But what would it be like if it exploded out into the world? My name is Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, an international best-selling author of 21, almost 22 books. It'll be out probably later this week still, and counting. And I help people write, publish, market their books to bestseller, but more importantly, to discover, live in, and shine their passion with the world. I'd love to help you know yours, live in yours, be powerfully passionate about what you are, who you are, and what you do. Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? What if you knew you couldn't fail? Now, we've talked about that before, right? We've talked about well, if I knew I couldn't fail, I'd go out and I'd buy, the $1 billion lottery ticket because if I knew I couldn't fail, then I'd know I'd win that and then I'd have $1 billion. I don't really mean it from that standpoint. I mean it more from the standpoint of what are you not doing because you're afraid you might fail? What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about making sure that when you go live, like I just did, that people who are commenting, even if they're commenting on other social medias that don't show up on the live stream, that you let them know how important they are to you? Are there people in your life that you're so passionate about that you would drop everything to be with them? Are there friends that you'll get up in the middle of the night to help? Friends that you'll lose sleep over in a good way? Or even some of them that in that kind of not as good way, you lose sleep over because you care. Are you passionate about your wife, your life, your kids, your family, your job, your career, your company? What are you passionate about? Now, the question is, why? Why are you passionate about that? I always use the example, telling your children, clean up your room, clean up your room, clean up your room, clean up your room. Why? Why is that important to you? Who cares? They're just going to mess it up 5 minutes from now anyway, right? So, and I know parents who just go with that theory and let their rooms be chaotic always, even sometimes their whole house. I had a mother in law that took this to the extent that when the cat came into the house and didn't use the kitty litter, well, that wasn't that big of a deal either. Okay, we'll just leave it at that because the rest of it gets pretty gross. Now, my second mother in law, she would definitely be aghast if she even thought I was talking about her. Um, Both of them actually have passed, so neither of them are going to be listening to this live, but probably both of them are like, oh, I can't believe he brought that up. Nobody was supposed to know. You see, our secret hidden passions sometimes also are part of what shows up in the world. And maybe it's that we're so passionate about reading or writing or creating. I know a lot of people that are high creatives, and a lot of them, they don't, keep house well, keep up with schedules and structure and stuff like that because they're always creating. I heard a story one time that Albert Einstein was so brilliant and so up in the thought experiments and the stuff that was in his head that he never really truly knew where he was. His students would literally walk up to him on campus in the middle of the quad, tap him on the shoulder, and say, "Professor, it's time to start class." And he would turn around and just begin talking and teaching them, you know, theoretical physics and, little things like that that just everybody spews on a random Tuesday, right? But it was because of what he was truly passionate about. And so it didn't even matter that even though he was walking and evidently able to, walk and have all his thoughts at the same time because he wasn't falling over, but even though he was out away from his classroom, he didn't even really notice or care. It was time to teach, he taught. And he was lost in the next greatest, coolest thing that was going through his head. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm sure that his wife, probably earlier in his life, his parents, and some of his friends, it was very frustrating because his passion ruled his life. And in the middle of a conversation, he would have a great, great new idea, and he had to go with it. And he'd just get up and probably walk away and not even say goodbye. That would be my guess as to what kind of person he was. Are you passionate about anything at that level? Now, some of you aren't high creative. Some of you are very, tech type of people, engineers. Okay, and that's not bad. Okay, because we need those people too, but they're very, one step after the other, very specific. I heard a statistic one time that the average car buyer takes about 4 hours to make a buying decision on a car. The average Volvo buyer takes about 20 days. Think about that one. Let it rattle around in your head. Okay, now that's not saying that either is right or wrong. It's just simply knowing your market, knowing the passions of the people that you deal with. And before you can start dealing with other people's passions and helping them with the thing you do in life, the thing you do in business, first you have to know yourself. You have to know, who am I? What's really cool about me? Ooh, there goes that. There's that true humility again, right? Because true humility is having a right perspective of yourself, meaning that you can very simply and casually, you don't have to brag, you don't have to be conceited about it. You just know that you're good at the things you're good at. And you also are able to acknowledge the things that you're not so good at. That's true humility. It's not about defaming yourself in order to make others feel better. That's actually another side of the coin to concede. Humility is just simply being yourself and going with it and being the you that is you in this world, living life passionately. So, what are you passionate about? What's your passion? How do you make that passion come out into the world and make the world a better place? I've said this a million times, I'm going to say it again. How can you maximize today? Rather than taking the whole world on, how could you just simply, right here, right now, today, be the best you can be today? Maybe you've been up for a couple of days, and maybe the best way you could spend today would be sleeping all day, recuperating your energy, resetting your mind and your body and your spirit so that you can go forward the next day. Maybe, like I just did, maybe there's a class that you've been considering taking, and you went ahead and you spent the hour in that class and you did the homework. Maybe there's some social media posts, like I'm doing right now, to reach out to people and tell them how important and special they are. I wanted you to know your passion is cool and you were made for an absolute specific purpose. The things that light you up, those things that when you say them, that your kids roll their eyes about them, that passion. Why are you passionate about it? That's cool. It's awesome. It may be something that I have no idea about, maybe even something I disagree on. That's okay. We don't have to be same-sames. I almost went into a tirade, but I'll go just very lightly into the word equality. 2 plus 2 equals 4, meaning that when you have four things, if you separate them into two bundles of two, you still have four things. But Jesus, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but he made himself a servant. You see, when we search a way to create our own kingdom, we end up diminishing ourselves. When we live to serve and live in our passion, we increase, and sometimes we even reach the whole world. Now, when we hear the word passion, of course, we think about that wonderful person that we're passionate about, right? They make our eyes sparkle, they make us smile. We have a nickname or a pet name for them, and we just love having them in our life. And that's a form of passion. But when does that passion move to the next level where you're so passionate about them that you want only their best, no matter what that is? What if their best isn't you? Could you love somebody enough to let them go? And I'm not talking about that if you love somebody, let them go. And if if they never come back, they were never yours in the first place. I'm not meaning that. I'm meaning more to put their needs above your own selfish needs. To be and do and want for them only the very, very best for them. Nothing else will do. Now, that's not that I'm saying that I don't want you to give away the love of your life or any of those kind of things. But what I'm saying is there's a deeper level than what you're experiencing right now, maybe. And that's the level where you're willing to do anything to facilitate. Jesus loved you so much that he gave his life. He did all that he could do, and then he died to show you he loved you. That's a lot of love. Now, I know, even spent hours in the garden praying it, that what he really wished was that there could be another way. Can't I just show the world that I love them and save them from their sins without having to have to give my life, without having to have to go to a cross and be tortured until I'm dead? But then he loved us so much that he did it anyway. He was passionate about his purpose. Now, I know all of us struggle sometimes with being that passionate, being passionate enough that we're willing to die for the thing that is the core of who we are. And on the flip side, a lot of times when we do go to that level of passion, it's not really our passion. It's not really our sacrifice. It's more our damage. And we're not willing to take care of ourselves. And so we let others trample on us, and we try to pretend that's our passion, giving up totally of ourselves to them. I've done that so many times, and I'm learning. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm learning that in order to be truly loving to somebody else, I have to truly love myself. In order to have you spark within you your passion, and for me to lead you to your passion, I have to spark my own passion. Let it out into the world in all the different ways it does, in the business books I write, in the authors that I help become bestsellers, in the people that I help just shape their stories, and in Romeo, the suicidal parakeet, which, by the way, I'm working on book 2. It's really fun and funny. You'll love Romeo's take on calling in sick to work. Maybe it's other graphic novels, illustrated things. Maybe it's a song. Maybe you just need to break out and sing because you're happy, right? Maybe you just need to laugh and smile or tell the person behind the counter, I really appreciate you. Thanks for working today. They could have called in sick. I was up really early this morning, and I won't go into the whole story. But long story short, I went to a place to buy the whole household donuts. Now I know you're looking at me and going, "Yeah, Steve, the last thing you need is more donuts." I know. Okay, I get it. But just go with me on the story, okay? And I went expecting that I was going to have to sit outside of this particular place for about a half an hour. It was very early in the morning. They were the only place in town that showed themselves as being opened, and that was going to be about a half an hour. The lady came out the door, and she kind of smiled and waved to us. And I opened my door, and she said, "Were you going to come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you open already?" And she proceeded to invite us in. You see, even though the place is listed on the internet as not having been open for half an hour, she was already there. And when she saw that people were out in the parking lot, rather than doing like some of us have done when we've worked food service jobs and waited until it was time to open, she came out and invited us in. It was really wonderful. It was a great example of a person being passionate about who they are and what they do and the difference that they can make in the world. I encourage you today, take some time to look at you. What are you passionate about? What are you really passionate about? Identify that thing that you're saying all the time and then ask yourself, why? Why do I tell my kids constantly to clean up their room? What's behind that? Identify that passion and then live in it. Thrive in it. Be the passionate you that you were created to be and make the difference that only you can make in this world. I'm so grateful for the time we get to be together. Thanks for joining me. I hope until we're together again next time, you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, and that you have an amazing and great week.